This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everybody, Dr. Doug Smith here. It is Monday at 1 o'clock. It is time to our Monday through Thursday 1 o'clock podcast. We broadcast every Monday through Thursday at 1. We try to keep these real short, down to 5 or 6 minutes, so that people can get a little bit of information. This is where you'll hear the science of what really happened in the opioid crisis, and we cover a lot of science here. That's why we keep the broadcast short, because small bites of science that people can digest makes it easier for people to go through all of this and learn what actually happened. As If you've been a regular listener, you know that what we're doing is we're going through page by page the entire citizens petition that we got published on regulations.gov. There's a lot of work behind that. And there's a lot of information in that citizens petition. And now that we're getting ready to roll out our DNA test, people are going to be looking for what all this science means. So what we've been doing is we took the factual causation. Factual causation is, did X cause Y? Did the opioids cause genetic damage? And we broke it down into 5 categories. The 5 categories being general causation, specific causation, signature disease, biomarker of exposure, and biomarker of disease. And we've been going through those one by one on our podcast. We just finished up biomarker of exposure, and if you were staying with us, you'll know that we developed a DNA test that is the biomarker of exposure. What was a biomarker of exposure? It's a DNA test that we developed. We developed a DNA test that can measure the methylation done to your body by the opioids. A lot of work went into that. That took us years to do. That was not an easy thing to do. There wasn't any book or anything to go by. We had to develop our own pathway, but we got it done, and we're rolling it out. Hopefully, as early as Thursday of this week, we will be rolling out our biomarker of exposure. Okay, now we'll roll it out on our website. We're applying for a CPT code. Those are the codes that you use to bill insurance companies with. We apply through AMA, but I'm not so sure we're going to get our CPT code. And if we do, it's going to take a long time. And even if we get it, I think the insurance companies are not going to pay for this, because why would Blue Cross Blue Shield want to pay for something that was at the FDA's fault? So I think the real way to do this is for people to pay cash, and then we immediately petition the FDA to pay them back. And I think we'll be successful with that. So today we're going to drop into biomarker of disease. We're not going to say a whole lot about this because we're working on this science right now, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about this when we can come back, hopefully, several months from now, and actually give you the hard facts. But now that we've bird dogged down the biomarker of exposure, we know exactly what we're looking for in the biomarker of disease. The hard part is finding the tissue that it's active in. Biomarker of exposure, we can pull that out of any cell in the body, except the red blood cells. They don't have any DNA. Iron's too heavy to carry around, so they get rid of all their DNA. But biomarker of exposure, we can pull that off of the scraping off of the inside of a cheek, because it's pretty much in all the cells. But biomarker of disease is only going to be in those cells that are active for the gene that's been damaged, the OPRM1 gene, the gene that makes the primary opioid receptor. We got to go into the area of the body where that gene is active and is actively being transcribed and producing the opioid receptor to find the biomarker of disease. We got a pretty good idea where to look for it. But it's going to take us some time on that. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on biomarker of disease, because we'll come back to that in the future. And so beginning tomorrow, we're going to jump into the next section here within the citizens petition, and we're going to start examining the scientific evidence supporting buprenorphine as an antidote for the symptoms of the opioid-induced genotoxicity. In other words, the opioids cause damage in the DNA. They poison the DNA. And that poisoning results in symptoms. Those symptoms are only evident when people attempt opioid abstinence. When they try to stop taking the opioids is when they get sick. And buprenorphine is a beautiful antidote for this. An antidote is any drug that is taken for a poisoning, either to relieve the symptoms of the poisoning or to reverse the poisoning. In our case, it's buprenorphine as an antidote to treat the symptoms of the poisoning, and it works really well. And so that is what we're going to pick up on tomorrow. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is the ethics of this, because the people that were poisoned by because the FDA missed the genetic poisoning. This was the FDA's fault. Okay, these people, our people just trusted. They trusted the FDA. They trusted the CDC. They trusted the public health expert. They trusted the healthcare expert. They trusted everybody. Okay, they never dreamed they were going to end up being poisoned, but they did end up being poisoned. And now if they don't take the antidote, they get very sick. That antidote, to withhold a known antidote from the victim of a known poisoning, especially one that's been poisoned by their own government, to withhold the antidote from the victim of a known poisoning is immoral. It's unethical. It's not human. But yet access to buprenorphine is, for so many people, is so difficult. It's just immoral what's happening. So we're going to hold here today. Don't forget to like us. Don't forget to subscribe to us. We'll be back here tomorrow at 1. Post this video on your social media and everybody else's social media. And we'll see you back here tomorrow. Again, my name is Dr. Doug Smith, and this is our podcast every Monday through Thursday at 1 o'clock. Thank you.